Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Gitsky. Well, today, President Trump signed an executive order that directs more federal money to police departments aimed at training reforms and transparency. The president signed the measure in the Rose Garden ceremony, surrounded by some of the country's law enforcement leaders, including Attorney General William Barr. President Trump made clear his stance on the widely demanded defunding of local police departments and said Americans really want law and order.
I strongly oppose the radical and dangerous efforts to defend, dismantle, and dissolve our police departments, especially now when we've achieved the lowest recorded crime rates in recent history. Americans know the truth. Without police, there is chaos. Without law, there is anarchy. And without safety, there is catastrophe.
President Trump said his administration is also looking at new advanced, less lethal weapons to help prevent deadly interactions. Also under this executive order, police departments must share information about officers with records of abuse, and federal funds will be funneled to support officers dealing with the homeless and people who have mental illnesses and substance abuse issues. Well, Senate Democrats are urging their Republican colleagues to take up legislation for police reform, the Justice and Policing Act, ahead of the July 4th recess. If enacted, the new legislation will ban chokeholds and no-knock warrants in drug cases. Speaking from the Senate floor, Senators Chuck Schumer and Cory Booker say the moment is now to take bold action. Today's comments come just as President Trump signs an executive order encouraging higher standards for policing.
This is a real effort to hold policing in America accountable for egregious behavior. It'll create transparency, as sunlight is the best disinfectant to injustice, and it'll also bring about an end to policies and practices that should be ended in our country.
President Trump says he is committed to working with Congress on additional police reform measures. Well, now to Atlanta, where outrage is mounting in the wake of the death of Rayshard Brooks, a black husband and father of four who was shot and killed last week by Atlanta police. The district attorney says he expects to make an announcement regarding possible charges as early as tomorrow. NBC's Blaine Alexander reports.
This morning, for the first time, we are hearing the 911 call that brought officers face-to-face with 27-year-old Rayshard Brooks.
I have a car. I think he's intoxicated. He's in the middle of my drive-thru.
We're also learning more about the two Atlanta police officers who answered that call. Newly released police records show Officer Garrett Wolf, who was fired Saturday, received a written reprimand for firing his weapon in 2016. The second officer involved, Devin Brosnan, is now on administrative duty. Records show his only complaint was connected to Friday's shooting. Officers found Brooks asleep in his car in a Wendy's drive-thru Friday night. Investigators say he failed a sobriety test.
I think you've had too much to drink to be driving. Here, put your hands behind your butt.
The calm interaction escalating when officers tried to arrest him.
Stop fighting! You're gonna get tased! You're gonna get tased!
Investigators say he grabbed one of the officer's tasers and ran. This video shows him turning and appearing to aim the taser at the officers before he is shot twice in the back.
He was always happy. He was always smiling. And you'd have to kill him.
Monday, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms furious, ordering changes to the Atlanta Police Department's use of force policy.
It pissed me off. It makes me sad, and I'm frustrated. And nothing I can do is going to change what happened on Friday.
It comes as protesters at Georgia's state capitol demanded the officers face charges.
That could have been me.
The district attorney plans to announce his decision this week.
So basically for you, it comes down to the question of, was Mr. Brooks in a position to cause harm to officers?
That's correct, and it has to be imminent bodily harm. The imminent bodily harm or death at the time of the shooting.
The leader of the union representing the officers says the process is being unfairly rushed.
I think a lot of it's convenient. I think a lot of this is political.
Brooks' widow, Tamika Miller, is calling for arrest, but says that is not enough.
There's no justice that can ever make me feel happy about what's been done.
And the district attorney tells me that part of their investigation is determining whether shots were fired from one or both officers' guns. Meanwhile, as the family of Rayshard Brooks begins to prepare for his funeral services, we've learned that movie director and producer Tyler Perry has agreed to cover those costs. In Atlanta, I'm Blaine Alexander, NBC News.
All right, new at noon, travel restrictions have been extended for another month between the U.S. and Mexico. This morning, officials from both countries confirmed the decision. Restrictions from the border have been in place since March 21st, applying to all non-essential land travel. The countries hope this will help stop the spread of coronavirus from one country to the next. The previous restrictions were set to expire June 22nd. Now those new restrictions will remain in effect until July 21st. Well, now to the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County. Public Health confirms 85 new COVID-19 cases along with one death. That makes it over 3,000 confirmed cases in Kern County. Right now, 75 people are hospitalized with COVID-19. As of Sunday, the state health department says 32 of those patients are in the ICU. Over 1,000 people are recovering at home. Over 36,000 tests have come back negative, and over 700 tests are still pending. Well, more than half of the skilled nursing facilities in Kern County are reporting infections among healthcare workers. Now, that's according to Public Health Director Matt Constantine. 12 out of the 19 facilities in the county are reporting cases among healthcare. Most cases are from Kingston Healthcare and Valley Convalescent. Constantine says they are regularly checking in on those two facilities. Now, the team will also be visiting 3 other facilities this week: Windsor Acute Post Care in Bakersfield, Delano District Skilled Nursing Facility on Wednesday, and Kern River Transitional Care on Thursday. Now, one person is dead after a late-night crash at Manor Street and East Roberts Lane. That is where a motorcycle was involved. Now, one person died at the scene. It's not clear if they were the motorcyclist. Another person was taken away in an ambulance. Now, their condition remains unknown. We'll bring you the latest information as soon as we get it. Now, the Bakersfield Police Department is looking for a missing teen, 16-year-old Bailey Dawn Gilder. BPD says she was reported missing on Sunday and was last seen at her family's home. BPD says it's unknown what Gilder was wearing. Anyone with information on her location is urged to call BPD at 327-7111. And a man is still missing in the Kern River after he was trying to rescue a child and was swept away by the strong current. The sheriff's office says they were called around 2:15 on Sunday for reports of a kid who went into the Kern River. But deputies say a man went in after the child about a mile from the Upper Rich Bar picnic area near Highway 178. Officials say the juvenile was safe and out of the water, but water swept the man away, prompting a search. Now, crews are back out again today, continuing their search efforts. Well, scary moments in Pismo Beach as fast-moving brush fire threaten neighborhoods and well-known businesses. The Avila fire. It is about 400 acres and is 20% contained. The fire started about 5 miles from Pismo Beach along Highway 101 yesterday and quickly spread. At one point, the highway had to be closed down. A huge cloud of black smoke could be seen from Pismo and Avila Beach, where many Kern County residents were vacationing. Last night, all evacuation orders were lifted. CAL FIRE is credited with attacking the fire from the air and on the ground, stopping the flames from reaching a cluster of homes. Now, we've learned Kern County Fire has sent 24 firefighters and 5 to help put out that fire. So far, no one has been hurt. Kern County Fire is there now. That cause is still under investigation. Meanwhile, the drum fire burning in Santa Barbara County is at least 60% contained. CAL FIRE says the blaze has reached about 600 acres. Strong winds have fanned the flames, bringing the fire dangerously close to homes and leading to evacuations. At least 200 firefighters are helping to contain that fire. Highway 246 was also closed in that area. Now to the ant fire that's out in Kernville, and it started on Sunday. Now that blaze is 75% contained, and it's still not clear how that fire started. Well, new at noon, Pacific Gas and Electric has pleaded guilty to 84 felony counts of involuntary manslaughter. The utility company reached a plea agreement that the November 2018 campfire was ignited by its electrical grid. The fire destroyed the city of Paradise. It killed 85 people, but prosecutors weren't certain they could prove PG&E was responsible for one of those deaths. The PG&E CEO apologized directly to the victims' families. Proceedings will continue tomorrow when surviving family members of those who died in the fire will be allowed to make statements. Now, no executives will be charged, leaving no one to imprison for the crimes. PG&E instead will pay a maximum fine of $3.5 million in addition to $500,000 to cover the county's costs of that criminal investigation.
Take a look at our almanac overnight, 63. That was right on track with where we should be this time of year. Our normal high today is 91. We will be below that today, 113 the record, and that was set back in 1961. Here's a look at the satellite and radar. Nothing to show you for the state of California. The system that we were talking about yesterday is lifting north and east. Temperatures today, nice, 73 in Sacramento, 88 in Fresno, 70s down to the south, a little warmer as you travel east, 93 in Vegas and Phoenix today at 105. And then out in the beaches, Pismo Beach, we all know that fire's burning out that way, so there may be a smoky haze. 68 on the temperature today, and unfortunately for firefighters, expecting a breeze out of the west-northwest, 15 to 20 miles per hour. High pressure builds on in here the next several days, and we'll be right near 100 as we kick off summer on Saturday. And Futurecast shows no rain headed our way anytime soon. We are going to remain dry around the state. Our national forecast for today, taking a look at the temperatures, we've got a cool day at Seattle, 53 in showers, 88 in Denver, Omaha, 92, Chicago in the mid-80s, and then 70s for New York, D.C. today in the mid-60s. Here at home, air quality will be good with an AQI at 44, and we'll call for the 80s. Bakersfield, 86, 87 in Delano, 84 out in Taft. For the mountains in the Kern River Valley, nice day, just dealing with a little bit of a wind, 73 in Frazier Park, 72 in Tehachapi, and then 80s for Lake Isabella and Kernville. Into the desert, sunny skies. We're looking at 83 in Mojave. Ridgecrest a little bit warmer, though. They're right near 95. Here's your extended forecast. Tomorrow, 89. Mid-90s return on Thursday, and then right near 100 by Friday. Now, Saturday, summer starts, and we're at 100. Father's Day, 102, and Monday, 103. For the mountains, sunny skies throughout the next 7. Also warming you up into the mid to upper 80s Friday throughout the weekend, and into the Kern River Valley. Mid-80s for your Wednesday, lower 90s on Friday, and then you can see those 90s hang on through the weekend into the early part of next week. That's a look at your forecast. Back over to you.
Well, things are heating up, but COVID-19 has changed the way cooling centers operate. Now, PG&E says it's giving a financial boost to help cover the costs. PG&E gave $80,000 to different counties in grants to pay for protective gear at cooling centers. Kern County Aging and Adult Services and Parks and Recreation both received funding from these grants. PG&E says the funds can be used to buy supplies like masks and hand sanitizer. Now, we have a full list of all the Kern County cooling centers on our website, KGET.com. The 4th of July is still a few weeks away, but some people have started celebrating early illegally. But you can do something about it. You can report the use of illegal or modified legal fireworks now by visiting the Kern County Fire Department's website. The fire department is reminding people to only call 911 for emergencies and instead use the website for reporting fireworks. You can find a link for that story on our website, KGET.com. Plus, the Bakersfield Fire Department says it will have teams of unmarked vehicles on the lookout for illegal fireworks and will issue citations to people found setting them off. Well, enter at your own risk. That's the message from several companies reopening during the coronavirus pandemic. Now, some businesses like gyms and salons are asking customers to sign liability waivers, saying they won't sue if they contract the virus at their establishment. One attorney says responsibility is twofold. The business should create a safe environment, but customers also have to follow safety guidelines.
Two things could be equally true. You know, if a customer comes in and they refuse to wear a mask and they refuse to social distance, they could share in responsibility for any injury they incur while they're there, just as much, possibly even more than the business owner. What's going to be difficult, I think, for a consumer or a customer is to establish that they contracted coronavirus or COVID-19 at a particular location, a particular time.
Health officials recommend customers still consider the risk before making a trip to any business during the pandemic. Well, Los Angeles police will not be paid for working overtime during the George Floyd and California stay-at-home protests. The city says it simply does not have the money to pay LAPD for the whopping $40 million in overtime expenses. Now, that's according to an internal memo from the agency. The officers will reportedly be compensated with time off instead. LAPD has now instructed commanding officers and supervisors to ensure overtime hours are maximized. Well, the FBI and Justice Department are investigating the recent hanging deaths of two black men in Southern California. The deaths of 24-year-old Robert Fuller and 38-year-old Malcolm Harsh occurred 10 days and 50 miles apart. Both were ruled suicides, but the families of both men are looking for more answers. CNN's Susan Malvo has the report.
They're lynching our black children.
Residents of Palmdale, California say it is the site of a modern-day lynching. 24-year-old Robert Fuller was found hanging from a tree near City Hall early Wednesday morning.
For a black man to be hung in a tree near City Hall, that's a message.
You don't understand our pain.
Residents were outraged Friday when city officials announced their initial findings.
It appears that Mr. Fuller has tragically died by suicide. A full autopsy.
My brother was not suicidal.
Come on, there it is.
He wasn't.
Now, 5 days after Fuller was found, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, which oversees Palmdale, says it's taking another look.
The initial reports appeared to be consistent with a suicide, but we felt it prudent to roll that back and continue to look deeper.
Regarding a chair or something similar found at the scene, there was nothing.
The Sheriff's Department announced it would begin reviewing seemingly basic evidence.
Initially, we are going to do forensics on the rope that was involved. We look to contact the witness who located him in the park and those who may have seen him in the past few days prior to his death.
But residents say more should have been done.
If it was another race, if it was a white boy, they'd be on it.
Just 10 days ago, as Black Lives Matter rallies continued nationwide, another black man, Malcolm Harsh, was discovered hanged from a tree less than 60 miles from where Fuller was found. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department says it found no indications of foul play and that the 38-year-old hanged himself. Harsh's family, like Fuller's, says no way.
We believe that both these two young black men were the victims of a possible hate crime.
Now the families of both men are calling for independent investigations, according to a shared spokesman.
Both families have stated both men were looking forward to enjoying their life, and both hangings make no sense whatsoever.
The Los Angeles County Sheriff said his department is planning to have conversations with officials in San Bernardino County. Well, those at BC are finding a way to honor victims of police brutality. BC and the Danny Morrison Show are teaming up to host conversations and virtual gatherings in the name of racial justice. Now, 2 events were last week, and today the Light a Candle conversation continues. Now, that's at 6 p.m. The conversation will include Congressman Kevin McCarthy. There are more talks and celebrations all week, culminating on June 19th. Well, Harvard says it will not require applicants to submit an SAT score in 2021. It's an announcement yesterday that is likely to impact other colleges and universities. The decision comes after growing criticism that the SAT and ACT standardized tests unfairly penalize students of color. Admissions officers say the pandemic has also created a difficult learning and testing environment for high school students. Harvard's decision is temporary, but many institutions of higher learning are looking to make the policy permanent. More than half of all four-year colleges and university in the nation will no longer require standardized testing this fall. Many are looking at admissions policies that don't require the SAT going forward. Supporters say not requiring standardized tests give colleges more diverse and better qualified applicants.